In the cold depths of the Zetharian expanse, a scrapyard stretched for hundreds of kilometers. Old warships, abandoned freighters, and broken drones lay scattered like forgotten relics of battles long past. Towering cranes moved slowly, picking through the wreckage, cutting valuable parts from vessels that once inspired fear across the galaxy. Among the piles of twisted metal and dormant engines, there was one ship that drew more attention than the others. It was a human vessel, small compared to the massive alien dreadnoughts around it, but once it had carried its crew through countless skirmishes with skill and courage. Now the ship's hull was rusted, its weapons removed, its engines torn apart. The aliens had deemed it useless, and they called it the Scrap, a pile of old metal fit only to be sold for parts. Lieutenant Mara Voss, the ship's captain, stood on a narrow catwalk overlooking her vessel. Her uniform was worn, her boots scuffed, and her eyes, sharp and determined, scanned the wreckage. She clenched her fists as she watched alien workers pry the last of the ship's engines from its hull. "This is wrong," she muttered to herself. "They don't see it, but this ship still has life. I won't let them kill it." The aliens didn't notice her protests. To them, efficiency mattered more than ingenuity. The scrapyard overseer, a tall, multi-limbed Zetharian named Greylock, barked orders in a series of harsh clicks. His workers obeyed immediately, tearing away the last of the ship's weapons and leaving the hull bare. "Lieutenant Voss, you must surrender the vessel," Greylock said, his voice low but commanding. "It is of no use. Your species is not permitted to salvage alien tech." Mara's jaw tightened. "It may be useless to you, but it is not useless to me. This ship is alive, and I will not let it die." Greylock tilted his head, as if he did not understand the human's stubbornness. "Futile. Scrapping will continue. Resistance is meaningless." But Mara had already made her decision. She would save her ship, no matter the cost. She slipped away quietly from the catwalk, moving through narrow maintenance tunnels. Only a few humans remained in this sector of the galaxy, and most had been enslaved or scattered. Mara's crew was small, but loyal. They knew she had a plan, even if they did not yet understand it. The ship's interior, once humming with power, was silent and cold. The walls were stripped of panels, the consoles disconnected, and the familiar glow of active systems was gone. Mara ran her fingers over the bare metal, tracing the lines of the old ship's design. "This hull, it's stronger than they know," she whispered. "They may have removed the parts, but they cannot remove its potential." Her thoughts were interrupted by a soft beep. A small console in the corner flickered to life. Mara's eyes widened. She had programmed a hidden system, a last resort protocol years ago, a small AI core that could survive even if the main systems were destroyed. It had survived the scrapping. "Hello, Mara," the AI said in a calm, neutral voice. "I am still functional." A small smile broke across Mara's face. "Good, you're my first ally. We have work to do." She moved quickly, opening a hidden panel in the floor. Inside, she found a small collection of human tools and scavenged alien components she had secretly stored. No one had noticed. No one expected a human to plan so far ahead. Mara worked through the night, carefully reattaching circuits, reconnecting sensors, and rerouting power. The hull, though damaged, seemed to respond to her touch. It was as if the ship itself recognized that it was not yet finished. Outside, the scrapyard was alive with movement. Alien workers carried massive engines to melting vats, and crane arms swung huge chunks of metal across the yard. The hum of machinery and the hiss of cutting lasers filled the air. Mara stayed hidden, working silently, her hands moving with precision. By the time the first sun of the Zetharian system rose, Mara had completed the first stage of her plan. The ship's systems were still weak, but the AI was operational, and a few small engines scavenged from derelict drones were in place. The hull was ready for more if she could find the parts. She called her small crew together. 3 humans, all survivors of the abandoned fleet, had joined her cause. There was Jarek, a technician with an uncanny ability to repair anything. Lena, a pilot who could navigate the roughest asteroid fields, and Tess, a weapons expert who could turn scrap into tools of defense. "We have one chance," Mara said, her voice firm. "This ship may be gone to them, but not to us. We are going to rebuild it, not just to survive, but to make it stronger than any of them expect." Jarek nodded. "We can start with small engines and thrusters. Then we can work on weapons and shields. It won't be fast, but it will be clever." Lena frowned. "And if they catch us?" Mara smiled faintly. "They won't. Not yet. We move quietly. We think ahead. They rely on strength and rules. We rely on ideas and speed. That will be our advantage." The next few days were a careful dance. Mara and her crew moved under the radar of the scrapyard overseers, scavenging parts from other abandoned ships. They took nothing large or obvious, just small engines, sensors, and energy cores. Every piece was carefully chosen to fit the old human hull in ways no alien could anticipate. The ship slowly began to transform. Panels were replaced, wires rerouted, and energy cores integrated into the old human design. The AI monitored each change, recalibrating systems and optimizing performance. Mara spent hours at the helm, tracing circuits and testing power flow. She marveled at how adaptable the human hull was. Alien ships, she noted, were rigid in design. They were powerful, but a single flaw could stop them. Her ship, built with human modularity and ingenuity, could absorb flaws, adapt, and even improve itself over time. One evening, as the Zetharian suns dipped below the horizon, Mara heard a faint hum from the ship. It was a sound she had waited for, a pulse of energy, weak but unmistakable. The hull vibrated slightly under her touch. "It's alive," she whispered. The crew gathered around, their faces lit by the soft glow of the AI's interface. Even though the ship was far from complete, even though it was still considered scrap by the aliens, they all felt the same thrill. Hope. Mara looked at her crew, her eyes shining. This is only the beginning. They think they have won. They think this ship is nothing. But they are wrong. This ship will be our strength, and one day they will regret calling it scrap. In the distance, the scrapyard's towering cranes cast long shadows across the broken metal. The aliens had no idea that in their midst, a human was quietly creating something that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. And Mara knew one thing for certain. They had scrapped it for parts. But a human would rebuild it, and it would become something they could never destroy. The hum of the AI pulsed gently, like the heartbeat of a living being. Mara smiled as she touched the console. She could almost hear it whisper, "We are not done yet." The stars outside twinkled coldly, indifferent to the struggles of humans and aliens alike. But inside the hull of the old ship, something new was awakening, something clever, something unstoppable. And the story of a human ship that no alien could underestimate had only just begun. The scrapyard stretched endlessly beneath the twin suns of Zithara. Towering alien cranes moved slowly, dragging massive hulls of derelict ships to the molten furnaces where their metal would be melted down. The air was thick with smoke and the hiss of lasers cutting through steel. Yet amidst all the chaos, Lieutenant Mara Voss and her small crew moved like shadows, unseen and unheard. Inside the hollowed-out hull of the human ship, work had begun in earnest. Every panel, every wire, every pipe had been examined, cleaned, or replaced. Mara worked with Jarek, Lena, and Tess, carefully integrating alien and human technology. They had no blueprint for what they were building, only their knowledge, intuition, and the stubborn belief that humans could make anything work. "This engine core is too weak for the original configuration," Jarek said, holding a small cylindrical device. "But if we split its output across two of the smaller thrusters—" Mara nodded. "Yes, divide the energy, redirect it. The ship will respond better that way." Jarek adjusted the engine with a practiced hand, connecting the alien energy core to a human-designed propulsion system. The AI inside the ship monitored every adjustment, calculating the optimal flow of energy. When Jarek finally activated the small test, the ship shivered slightly. It was weak, but it moved. "It's alive," Lena whispered, her eyes wide with awe. "Even like this." Mara smiled. "And that's just the start. We're going to make this ship faster, smarter, stronger, and when we're done, it won't just survive, it will dominate." Days passed, each one a careful combination of ingenuity and stealth. The scrapyard was patrolled constantly, and alien overseers often passed within meters of the crew. Mara had to keep them distracted while the ship slowly transformed inside its hidden hangar. Tess worked on weapons, salvaging old energy cannons from destroyed patrol ships. She modified them to be modular, able to fit in unexpected places. "They'll never see this coming," she said, attaching a cannon in a section of the hull that had been stripped bare. "It won't just fire straight, it will adapt." Mara examined the modifications carefully. "Good. Every system we add has to interact with the ship's AI. It should anticipate attacks, react instantly, and use what we have efficiently. Humans don't just fight, they improvise." The first small tests began at night, under the cover of shadows. Mara took the ship out of the hangar, its new thrusters humming softly. The vessel glided through the scrapyard, moving faster and smoother than expected. Sensors flickered to life, scanning the surroundings and feeding data back to the AI. It was learning. As the ship maneuvered, Mara's mind raced. She imagined the day when this vessel would face alien fleets. The human design was unconventional. Where alien ships were rigid and predictable, this one was flexible, capable of improvisation and adaptation. A small, clever human crew could outmaneuver a massive fleet if they thought creatively. One evening, an unexpected challenge arrived. A group of Zetherian patrol drones flew near the scrapyard. They were designed to detect anomalies, any unauthorized movement among the piles of metal. Mara froze as the sensors on the ship beeped warnings. "They'll see us if we move," Lena said nervously. Mara thought quickly. "Not if we confuse them." She pressed a few buttons, rerouting the ship's power to the auxiliary systems. Lights dimmed. Sensors created false readings. On the AI's display, multiple copies of the ship appeared to drift among the wreckage. The drones approached, scanning with sharp beams of light. For several tense minutes, the crew held their breath. Then Mara smiled as the drones passed, none of them realizing that the real ship had quietly slipped through their perimeter. "That's human ingenuity," Mara whispered. "Always find a way when they think you're trapped." Over the next few weeks, the ship began to take shape. Small thrusters were installed alongside larger ones, each calibrated to move the hull with precision. Energy shields, scavenged from alien vessels, were adapted to human technology, making them lighter and more efficient. The AI learned to manage these systems automatically, predicting stress points and adjusting energy output in real time. One day, Mara decided it was time for a bigger test. "We're going to fly beyond the scrapyard," she told her crew. "We need to know if the ship can survive outside." The human crew prepared for the flight. Lena took the controls while Mara supervised the systems. Jarek monitored energy flow, and Tess ensured the weapons were functional. The AI ran simulations alongside them, testing every possible scenario. As the ship glided out of the hangar, the scrapyard stretched beneath them like a patchwork of metal. The twin suns glinted off the hulls of old warships, making the human vessel almost invisible against the light. Mara held her breath as Lena engaged the new thrusters. The ship surged forward, faster and smoother than anything they had expected. It twisted and turned with a grace that alien engineers would have found impossible. Mara's heart raced. Every system worked in harmony. Every modification complemented the others. Suddenly, the AI alerted them. Multiple patrol drones were approaching from the west. Mara gritted her teeth. "Time to see what you've really learned." The ship reacted instantly. It dodged and weaved, splitting its energy to multiple thrusters. Small weapons hidden in the hull fired pulses that jammed the drone's sensors. The AI calculated the best paths, anticipating the drone's movements, while Mara and Lena guided the ship with intuition and skill. Within minutes, the drones were confused and retreating. The human vessel had survived its first real encounter, and it had done so using a combination of human creativity, improvisation, and sheer courage. After returning to the scrapyard, the crew celebrated quietly. "They think this is just an old ship," Tess said, smiling. "They don't know it's alive." Mara nodded. "It's more than alive. It's learning. Every test, every challenge makes it stronger. And every move we make is teaching it how to survive." But Mara knew that their work was far from over. The ship was still incomplete, and the aliens were beginning to notice strange anomalies. Reports of missing parts and damaged drones reached the scrapyard's overseers. They assumed some rogue scavenger crew was behind it. Mara watched the alien administrators from her hiding place. They were confident, arrogant, and utterly unaware that a single human ship was outmaneuvering their best technology. She smiled faintly. "They won't know what hit them," she whispered. At night, Mara sat in the quiet of the ship's cockpit, running simulations with the AI. "You've come a long way," she said. "Soon you won't just survive. You'll dominate. But we need more. We need weapons, more speed, and defenses they can't predict." The AI responded calmly. "Integration with new systems is possible. Efficiency can be improved. Probability of success in future encounters is high." Mara leaned back, letting the hum of the ship fill the cockpit. Outside, the stars twinkled coldly, indifferent to her plans. But inside, the ship pulsed with energy, anticipation, and potential. Jarek entered quietly. "Mara, I've found some additional cores in the scrapyard. If we combine them, we can double the ship's energy output." Mara's eyes lit up. "Perfect. Gather them. We'll start tomorrow. The ship is learning, but it can learn faster with more power. Let's push it further than they ever imagined." Over the next days, the crew worked tirelessly. Alien technology and human engineering merged into something unprecedented. The hull grew stronger, thrusters more precise, and the AI more intelligent. Every night, Mara watched her ship transform, marveling at how a vessel that had once been considered scrap could become something extraordinary. The final night of this phase arrived. Mara stood at the observation deck, looking out at the scrapyard that had tried to consume her ship. "They think they control everything," she said softly. "But they don't. They never understood humans. We are not bound by rules. We are not predictable. And this ship is proof of that." The AI hummed in agreement. "Ship integrity at 98%, systems operational, ready for next phase." Mara nodded, her eyes glinting with determination. "Good. Tomorrow we test the ship outside the yard. We see what it can really do." The ship pulsed gently in response, like a living thing aware of its purpose. Mara felt a surge of pride and hope. The vessel, once broken and abandoned, was beginning to live again, and soon, the galaxy would see a human ship unlike any other, a ship built from ingenuity, courage, and determination. A ship that no alien could predict. A ship that could change everything. The day had come. The scrapyard lay silent under the twin suns of Zithera, its cranes paused, and the distant hum of the furnaces seemed softer than usual. Mara stood on the observation deck of the human ship, her eyes scanning the horizon. Today, the vessel would leave the safety of the scrapyard. Today, they would see if her work had truly paid off. "Everything ready?" she asked, turning to her crew. Lena nodded, her hands steady on the flight controls. Thrusters at full capacity, AI integrated with weapons and shields, sensors online. We're ready. Jarek checked the energy outputs one final time. Power distribution is balanced. Ship is responding perfectly. You'll feel the difference as soon as you leave the hangar. Tess loaded the modified weapons. Small, hidden cannons and energy pulses lined the hull in ways that no alien eye could anticipate. "If anyone tries to stop us, they won't know what hit them," she said with a grin. Mara smiled faintly. "Good. Let's begin." The ship's engines hummed, a quiet, steady vibration that seemed almost alive. It lifted smoothly from its hangar, gliding past the scrapyard unnoticed. Mara held her breath as the AI monitored every movement. The hull responded with precision, weaving between broken ships, adjusting energy output, and correcting even the smallest deviations. "They move like they're alive," Lena said in awe. "It's incredible." Mara nodded. "It's more than alive. It thinks, it adapts. And today, it will learn something new." The crew set a course away from the scrapyard, toward an open sector of space rarely patrolled by alien forces. It was there, in the quiet void, that Mara planned to run the ship's first real test, a confrontation that would measure both speed and strategy. Suddenly, the AI's sensors beeped urgently. "Multiple unidentified vessels approaching. Probability of engagement high." Mara's eyes narrowed. "Show me." On the display, several small alien patrol ships appeared, moving cautiously but quickly toward their position. They were not warships, but even these drones carried advanced sensors and energy weapons. The aliens had detected movement and were investigating. "They expect to find a human crew hiding," Mara said. "They think we are weak. They think we are small. Let's prove them wrong." She pressed a series of buttons, activating the ship's stealth system. The vessel's hull shimmered slightly, creating distortions that made it harder to detect. The AI projected multiple false images of the ship, confusing the sensors of the patrol vessels. As the patrols drew closer, the first energy pulse fired, not to destroy, but to jam their targeting systems. Mara watched as the alien ships hesitated, their sensors flickering in confusion. "They don't understand what's happening," Lena said. "It's working." Mara's lips curved into a small smile. "It's always worked for humans. We see what others cannot. We adapt. We survive." The patrol ships fired, beams of energy cutting through space toward the human vessel. Mara and Lena guided the ship in a series of sharp twists and rolls, while the AI calculated optimal trajectories to avoid impact. Each weapon that fired met an improvised countermeasure, energy pulses that disrupted the beams, shield bursts that absorbed damage, and evasive maneuvers that made the alien aim fail repeatedly. "This is just the beginning," Mara whispered. "Watch and learn." The ship's hidden cannons fired next, small energy bursts that targeted the drone's sensors. The pulses hit precisely, disabling navigation systems and forcing the alien vessels into erratic spins. The patrols struggled to coordinate, while the human vessel moved with fluid grace, using every ounce of energy efficiently. One drone attempted a close pass. Tess had anticipated it, and a hidden cannon in the hull fired a precise pulse. The drone's systems overloaded and it spun out of control, drifting harmlessly into the void. The other patrols tried to regroup, but the human ship's unpredictable movements kept them off balance. The AI adapted to each new attack, redirecting power and activating countermeasures in real time. The aliens' rigidity, once their strength, now became their weakness. Mara's crew began to feel the thrill of the battle. They realized that the ship was more than a vessel. It was an extension of human ingenuity, capable of thinking, reacting, and improvising. After several tense minutes, the patrol drones retreated, disabled or confused. The human ship emerged unscathed, its systems running perfectly, and its AI reporting optimal performance. Mara allowed herself a moment to breathe. "That's our proof," she said. "Even a few small ships cannot predict us. Even with their technology, they cannot match human creativity." The crew cheered quietly, their excitement tempered by the need for caution. Mara knew that this was only the first step. The aliens would not ignore these anomalies for long. Soon, stronger forces would come. Back at the scrapyard hangar, Mara and her crew began analyzing the test. Every move, every pulse, every maneuver was logged and reviewed. The AI suggested improvements, new energy flow configurations, weapon optimizations, and shield recalibrations. "This ship is learning faster than I expected," Mara said. "It's like it knows what I want it to do before I even say it." Jarek grinned. "That's because you designed it to think creatively, not just follow orders. Humans are unpredictable, and now our ship is too." Lena looked out at the stars. "They'll never see us coming. We're too small to matter, too clever to catch." Tess nodded. "And when they do, they'll wish they had underestimated us from the start." Mara's mind was already planning the next phase. The ship had survived its first real test, but the galaxy was vast, and alien fleets were everywhere. They needed more power, more weapons, and more adaptability. Every challenge they faced now was a chance to teach the ship to become stronger. The next day, Mara led the crew on a reconnaissance mission. They moved through uncharted asteroid fields, dodging debris and monitoring distant alien patrols. The ship's sensors, enhanced by Jarek's modifications, detected every movement, every signal, and every anomaly. The AI processed this information instantly, feeding suggestions to Mara and Lena. As they navigated the field, an alien transport vessel appeared. It was large, slow, and heavily armored, but it carried supplies and equipment that could greatly enhance the human ship if captured. Mara considered her options. A direct attack would be risky, but with careful strategy, they could disable the vessel without exposure. "Lena, prepare for a boarding maneuver," Mara said. "We'll use the ship's stealth to approach. Tess, ready the auxiliary energy pulse. Jarek, monitor the shields for any sudden fluctuations." The ship moved like a shadow, weaving through the asteroid field. Its stealth systems rendered it nearly invisible to the transport's sensors. As they drew close, Mara gave the signal. The AI deployed a small, targeted pulse that disrupted the transport's navigation systems. The massive vessel drifted helplessly, and the human crew moved in with precision. Using the ship's modular systems, they attached magnetic clamps and small thrusters to guide the transport. Inside, Mara's team quickly secured the cargo. They moved efficiently, leaving no trace except a faint disruption that would confuse any pursuing patrols. By the time they returned to the scrapyard hangar, Mara felt a surge of pride. The ship had not only survived, it had completed a mission that would have been impossible for any other vessel of its size. "This is only the beginning," Mara said, watching the stars outside. "We've proven that even a single human ship can outthink and outmaneuver the aliens. But we are far from done. The galaxy will know our name soon enough." The AI's soft hum seemed to echo her thoughts. "Learning complete for current phase. Probability of success in future engagements increasing exponentially." Mara smiled faintly. "Good. Tomorrow we push further. We test our limits. We teach this ship to be unstoppable." Outside, the stars twinkled coldly, indifferent to human efforts. But inside the hull of the ship, something extraordinary was happening. A vessel once considered scrap was becoming a living weapon of ingenuity, courage, and adaptability. And Mara knew the aliens had no idea what was coming. Not yet, but soon they would learn that a human could take what others discard and turn it into something greater than any fleet, something the galaxy would never forget. The scrapyard had long grown quiet after Mara's last test. The human ship rested in its hidden hangar, silent and still, but inside, the hum of energy and the AI's constant calculations made it feel alive. Mara moved through the corridors, her eyes scanning each panel, each wire, each module. Every day, every adjustment, every test made the ship smarter, faster, and more formidable. "This ship isn't just repaired," Mara said to her crew. "It's evolving. Every time we add something, it learns. Every challenge it faces makes it stronger. Soon, no alien will predict its moves." Jarek was crouched over a newly salvaged alien energy core, adjusting the connections to work with the ship's AI. "These cores are unstable, but if we merge them carefully, the ship could double its power output." Mara's eyes lit up. "Double the power, and we can run all systems at full efficiency, shields, thrusters, weapons, without any delay. Good work, Jarek. Begin the integration immediately." Lena hovered over the flight controls, testing the upgraded thrusters. "I can feel the difference already. Even with half the energy, the ship is more responsive. With this upgrade, it will move like nothing else in the galaxy." Tess was installing compact modular weapons hidden inside the hull. Small energy cannons, mini missile pods, and pulse disruptors were placed where no sensor could detect them. "They'll never see these coming," she said, smiling. "And when we fire, it will be over before they know what hit them." Mara nodded. "That's the point. Humans don't just fight. We surprise. We adapt. We win because we think differently." The next stage of the ship's evolution began. Mara had planned for more than simple upgrades. The AI was integrated with a predictive system that could analyze enemy tactics, adapt to attacks instantly, and optimize energy use in real time. Every thruster, every cannon, and every shield now worked together seamlessly, responding to inputs faster than the human crew could blink. Days passed as Mara and her team pushed the ship to its limits. They ran obstacle simulations, dodged simulated attacks, and tested weapons in carefully controlled zones outside the scrapyard. Each time the AI learned faster, calculated smarter, and improved efficiency. But Mara knew the ultimate test was real combat. The alien patrols had grown cautious. They sent stronger ships, faster ones, and the occasional patrol fleet to search the sector. The human crew watched, waiting, knowing that sooner or later they would have to face real alien forces. That day came sooner than expected. Sensors blared as a small alien fleet emerged from hyperspace near the scrapyard sector. Mara's ship was still technically hidden, but the aliens were sweeping the area for anomalies. The fleet consisted of 3 cruisers and 2 support ships, far superior in firepower to her single vessel. "They'll spot us soon," Lena said nervously. Mara's eyes narrowed. "Then we show them what humans are capable of. Remember what we've learned. The ship is alive. We are smart. We adapt. And today, we fight differently." The human ship activated its stealth systems and moved through the debris, weaving between asteroid fields and destroyed hulls. The AI projected multiple false images, making it impossible for the alien fleet to locate the real vessel immediately. But the patrols were cautious, scanning carefully and moving closer. The first cruiser fired. Mara felt the hum of the energy beam as it passed too close to the hull. "Shields online," she said calmly. The energy pulse was absorbed and redistributed, leaving the hull unscathed. The AI calculated a countermeasure instantly, redirecting power to thrusters and weapons. "Return fire," Mara commanded. Tess activated the hidden cannons. Small, precise pulses hit the alien sensors, causing confusion and forcing the ships into erratic maneuvers. One cruiser collided lightly with a debris field, taking minor damage but enough to disrupt formation. The human ship moved unpredictably, twisting and dodging with speed the aliens could not match. Every time they tried to lock onto it, the ship fired a pulse or launched a small missile from an unexpected point. The AI adapted instantly, adjusting shields and weapon output in real time. Jarek watched the readings in awe. "It's learning faster than we anticipated. It's predicting their moves." Mara smiled faintly. "That's the advantage of human design: flexibility, creativity, intelligence." The battle escalated. One of the support ships tried a direct assault, using fast energy beams to cut through the human vessel. Mara guided the ship through a series of tight turns while the AI redistributed power to the shields. At the same time, hidden disruptor pulses jammed the enemy targeting system, making their weapons miss entirely. "Now, Lena!" Mara shouted. "Counter-strike!" The ship responded with a coordinated strike. Hidden cannons fired pulses at weak points on the cruiser's hulls, while mini-missiles from the stealth pods targeted engines and navigation systems. One cruiser lost power to its thrusters, spinning uncontrollably into a nearby asteroid. Another was forced to retreat as its sensors failed completely. The aliens, though advanced, were not ready for a vessel that adapted and reacted in ways their rigid systems could not anticipate. The human ship moved like a living being, turning each attack into an opportunity. Mara's crew worked in harmony with the ship, each action precise. Tess monitored weapons, Lena piloted, Jarek adjusted power flows, and Mara orchestrated the overall strategy. Every move reinforced the ship's learning. It became smarter, faster, and more formidable with every pulse and maneuver. Within minutes, the alien fleet was scattered. 2 ships retreated in confusion. One cruiser floated damaged, and the remaining support vessel barely escaped. The human ship had achieved a victory that seemed impossible. A single vessel had bested multiple advanced ships using strategy, speed, and adaptation. Back at the hidden hangar, the crew celebrated quietly. Mara stood in the observation room, watching the stars. "They think we are weak. They think we are scrap. But they are wrong. The ship is alive. It is learning. And soon, no one will dare underestimate it." Jarek adjusted a final power line. With these new cores, the ship could handle an entire fleet if it needed to. And it would keep learning, getting stronger every time. Mara nodded. "Good. But we must be careful. We cannot draw too much attention too soon. The aliens will come, stronger and smarter. We need to be ready." Lena looked out the viewport. "They'll never expect a human ship like this. It's perfect." Tess smiled. "Perfect and deadly. And that's just how I like it." Mara moved to the cockpit and placed a hand on the console. The ship hummed in response like it recognized her touch. "We are only beginning," she whispered. "One day, this vessel will be more than a ship. It will be a symbol, a proof that humans can take what others discard and make it unstoppable." The AI pulsed in agreement. Ship integrity optimal, systems fully operational, probability of success in future engagements maximal. Mara allowed herself a small smile. The ship had proven itself. It had survived its first battle test, and it had done so against impossible odds. But this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, and the humans had only just begun to show their strength. The next phase would be harder, the enemies stronger, and the challenges greater. But Mara and her crew knew one thing. Their ingenuity, courage, and teamwork had already created something no alien had expected. The ship, once considered scrap, was now a weapon of unmatched potential. And Mara knew that soon it would be known across the stars as the deadliest human-made ship alive. As night fell over the scrapyard and the twin suns disappeared below the horizon, Mara stood on the observation deck. Her eyes scanned the stars. Somewhere out there, alien fleets were preparing, unaware of what was coming. "They will learn," she said quietly. "But only when it is too late." And inside the hull, the ship pulsed with energy and purpose, ready to turn human ingenuity into a force that no one could ignore. The galaxy was restless. Word of strange anomalies in the Zetherian sector had spread among alien fleets. Ships had disappeared, patrols had been disabled, and sensor logs showed impossible maneuvers. The aliens, confident in their technology and rigid strategies, could not comprehend the force that had emerged. A single human vessel, once scrap, now alive, intelligent, and deadly. Lieutenant Mara Voss stood on the bridge of her ship, her hands resting lightly on the console. She had spent months upgrading the hull, integrating alien and human technology, and training the AI to learn faster than any enemy could predict. Her crew was small, but skilled: Jarek, Lena, and Tess. Each had pushed their limits, and together, they had built a ship that was more than just metal and circuits. It was a living weapon. "We've done everything we can," Mara said, her voice calm but firm. "The rest is up to us. Today the aliens will see what humans are capable of." Lena adjusted the controls, eyes sharp. "Our sensors show the fleet. 5 cruisers, 3 support ships, and multiple fighter drones. They are moving fast and in formation. They've finally noticed us." Mara smiled faintly. "Good. Let them come. They think they're strong. They think numbers matter. They don't understand humans." The fleet approached, weapons glowing and targeting systems locked on. Mara activated the ship's stealth field just as an alien cruiser fired. The pulse missed entirely. The AI had predicted the trajectory and adjusted shields and energy output in milliseconds. "They'll learn soon enough," Mara whispered. As the first volley of attacks passed, Mara made her move. The ship twisted and darted through space with impossible agility. Hidden cannons fired pulses at the cruiser's sensors, causing confusion. Mini-missiles from the hull's stealth pods targeted engines and navigation systems. Each strike was precise, calculated, and devastating, yet Mara guided the vessel with intuition, reading the battle as if it were a living organism. The aliens were shocked. Their rigid formations failed. Their targeting systems faltered. One cruiser collided with a debris field, while another spun helplessly as its engines failed. Drones that tried to flank the human ship were neutralized with pulses that disabled sensors and weapons. "They can't keep up," Lena said, her voice tinged with awe. "It's like the ship knows what we want it to do before we do." Mara's eyes glinted. "Exactly. That's human design. Flexibility, intelligence, adaptability. We win because we are unpredictable." The fleet regrouped, firing again, more aggressively this time. The AI responded instantly, redistributing power to shields, weapons, and thrusters. The hull pulsed with energy as the human ship danced through space, dodging beams and missiles with fluid grace. Tess activated the auxiliary disruptor system. Tiny pulses emitted from hidden hull points jammed the alien fleet's weapons. Engines stuttered, targeting arrays failed, and chaos spread among the enemy. The fleet's confidence began to crumble. Mara took a deep breath. "Now, Lena, full attack!" The ship surged forward, striking in ways no alien had anticipated. Mini-missiles targeted weak points in shields and engines. Hidden energy cannons fired synchronized bursts, disabling weapon systems across the fleet. The AI adapted continuously, learning, predicting, and adjusting faster than any alien computer could process. The battle raged for hours, but to Mara, it felt like minutes. Every maneuver, every pulse, every strike reinforced the ship's intelligence. The human vessel was more than a ship. It was a partner, a living extension of their creativity and courage. One by one, the alien ships fell. Some fled in confusion, unable to recover. Others floated powerless, engines dead, systems offline. The human ship, despite being vastly outnumbered, moved with precision, efficiency, and deadly skill. Jarek's voice broke through the tense silence. "We've done it. All their ships are either fleeing or disabled." Mara allowed herself a rare smile. Yes, and they'll remember today. Every alien who survives will tell the story. They will remember that a human ship, built from scrap and ingenuity, bested an entire fleet. But Mara knew the battle was not the end. The galaxy was vast, and other fleets would come. Yet she had proved a point. Humans could take what others discarded and turn it into something extraordinary. As the crew navigated the crippled alien ships back toward the safe zones of the sector, Mara spoke quietly. This ship, it's more than metal. It's human will, intelligence, courage, and no one can take that away. Lena glanced at her captain. It's amazing. It's like the ship has a mind of its own, a life of its own. Mara nodded. It does. And that life is built on humans. Our creativity, our bravery, our ability to adapt. That's what makes us strong. The ship pulsed gently, its AI reporting system stability, weapon readiness, and energy efficiency all at maximum. It had survived impossible odds, adapted to every threat, and emerged stronger. Mara's crew felt a surge of pride. They had turned scrap into a legend. Back at the hidden hangar, Mara looked out at the stars. She knew other fleets would come. She knew other challenges awaited. But she also knew that humans could face any obstacle if they relied on ingenuity, courage, and teamwork. Today, we are remembered, Mara said softly. Tomorrow, we grow stronger. And someday, the galaxy will know. Never underestimate a human. The AI pulsed in agreement. Learning complete for current engagement. Probability of success in future encounters, maximal. Human ingenuity confirmed as primary strategic advantage. Mara touched the console, feeling the hum of energy beneath her fingertips. Yes, she whispered. This is just the beginning. The stars outside twinkled, indifferent to human victories and alien defeats. But inside the ship, a story was being written, a story of courage, intelligence, and determination. A story that would be told across galaxies, of a human who took a ship no one valued, a vessel stripped and abandoned, and rebuilt it into the deadliest ship alive. A ship that could think, adapt, and fight in ways no alien ever imagined. And a crew that proved that humans, though small in number, could overcome any obstacle when they relied on their greatest weapon, their ingenuity. Mara stood on the bridge, looking at the stars stretching endlessly before them. We've done it, she said quietly, but there's more to do. The galaxy is bigger than this battle, and we will face it, together. The ship pulsed as if acknowledging her words. It was alive, it was learning, and it was ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. From the scrapyard to the stars, the legend had begun, and across the galaxy, whispers spread. Never underestimate humans. The human vessel, born of scrap and built by ingenuity, had become unstoppable. And Mara Voss knew one truth above all else. No one could ever control a human who refused to give up, and no one could ever destroy a ship built with human courage, intelligence, and determination. The stars awaited, and so did their next adventure.